all about Scorpio, part 4. All right, so we're done with a lot of topics, like, for instance, we've talked about Scorpio. They value trust, loyalty, some truths about Scorpio being sarcastic at times, especially when they don't like someone, and Scorpio sensing fake people, which is one of my favorite, and that is so true. You have this bullshit detectors, and how Scorpios are known also for being natural observers. And what else? Scorpio and privacy is also one of the topics that I have posted on the previous recordings. Now we're going to focus on Scorpio men. Okay, now these are the words that perfectly describe Scorpio man that you know. Okay, let's start with the first one. It says here, Scorpio man is passionate. Okay. When we're talking about passion, and it goes not only for Scorpio man, but for both sexes, Scorpio in general are very passionate. And it doesn't necessarily just mean passionate to their lovers or significant other, but we're talking about Scorpios being passionate in what they want or in what they do. So it can be a job or a career that they're focused on, and it could be, a hobby. Scorpios are very passionate. If they're put their mind or set their eyes on it, they're going to go for it. They're go-getters, They're very go-getters. So that's what it basically means. For Scorpios in general, like, they're very passionate in what they want or in what they do, whatever that is, okay? Now, when it comes to the romantic feelings and all that, I've known a lot of Scorpio men, and they're really, really passionate towards their lovers. They don't, and it's also one thing that I like about Scorpios, and being a Scorpio myself, we're not really the type who's going to show our love and passion, to our significant others in public. Like, we don't show everybody like, hey, we're gonna, do the public kissing and all that. PDAs are not really for us, Scorpios. That's why Scorpios are very private. They try to show their love more in private with their partner instead of, like, showing off to everybody, like, like you're making out in front of everybody. It's something that Scorpios are not very fond of, at least, most Scorpios that I know. But they're very passionate. And when it comes to the romantic side, Scorpios show their passion not just by words. It's mostly about their actions, that, like, they're going to show their partner that there's someone that their partner can really lean on and trust, and that they're going to, make their dreams realized with a Scorpio's help. So that's how passionate they are. They're very, very passionate, and showing their partners how much they care for the relationship, how connected they are, how protective they are. So I guess that's how I can actually interpret the word passion for Scorpio man, and also for Scorpio in general. Now, what's the next thing? Next thing will be Scorpio being sensual. Ooh. So we have passion, and then now we're talking about sensual Scorpios. Yeah, I would definitely agree that Scorpios are very sensual. And a lot of people, when they hear the zodiac sign Scorpio, they're going to giggle about it because it's always, like, connected to sex. But actually, and this, I'm pretty sure that a lot of Scorpios would agree to it. It doesn't necessarily mean that Scorpio are just, a bunch of horny people out there, like they can just go on one night stand, be sensual folks, just to everybody. Actually, Scorpio men and women, or Scorpio in general, they are actually very much picky in terms of their, choosing their partner that they're going to sleep with. They just don't sleep around with anybody. Of course not. There's no truth behind that. Scorpio, when they actually, when it comes to sex, basically, it's all about connection. It's about having that deep connection. So when they show their love towards their partner, they show it not just through body. It's like body, mind, and souls. And sex is actually more of like a spiritual thing for Scorpio. So it doesn't necessarily mean if you know someone who's a Scorpio, then you're just gonna automatically tag them as, oh, okay, he or she is a Scorpio and he or she's into sex a lot. Sex is always on her mind, and that, yeah, there's a truth behind that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're, a bunch of, sexual addict, making out with just anybody out there, or, doing one night stands with just anybody else. But, I would actually say that sex is more of like a sacred thing, a spiritual thing, for Scorpios, okay? But yeah, they're very sensual. We are very sensual. Number three. Number three. Intense emotions. Of course, everything is all about intensity, okay? Scorpios are known for having very intense emotions. Either it can be anger, it can be, love, whatever emotions that is, they're very intense. They give it all. It's just as simple as that. When they're actually full of anger towards someone, they're really going to show it. It's very intense. You can feel the heat from here. So, yeah, they're very intense with their emotions, okay? Because they're emotional people, all right? Next, competitive. Yes, Scorpio is very competitive. They may not be that too obvious and show you that very competitive, but we are very competitive. Especially when we get challenged about something, we really wanted to play the game and be very competitive towards it. And normally, when we want something, that's why some people say it's hard to beat a Scorpio, or based on the articles that I've read or book, they say it's hard really to beat a Scorpio because one of Scorpio's biggest secrets in achieving their goals, it's their daily determination. Once they set their eyes on something, and again, we're going back to that passion thing. So once they set their eyes on something, they put their mind into it and their concentration, I tell you, nothing's going to stop a Scorpio from achieving his or her dreams. So that's why they're very competitive. Like they're going to do everything. They're go-getters. They're going to do everything just to win the game, And again, that's one huge fact about Scorpios. What's the next one? Next one would be dedication. Well, yeah, I've known a lot of Scorpio folks out there being very dedicated in whatever they do. They're very dedicated to their craft. Like, how do they express their dedication? For instance, in a company or that they work for, in a job, they put all of their focus, their loyalty to it. They're very dedicated and loyal to their craft. They put all of their attention, their focus, their time. And it goes not only for Scorpio men, but also for Scorpio women, too. I'm not going to read all of the words here, but, one of the things that I've really noticed about Scorpio men, or Scorpio in general, yeah, let's put it that way. Next would be stubbornness. Oh yeah, Scorpios are really stubborn. I am a Scorpio, and I'm also very stubborn, especially if I don't want something. I'm fixed at it, because we are fixed signs, so it's hard really to change our minds about something, especially if we ourselves, or we really feel that this is something that we do not want to do, or this is something that I want to do, They're very, very stubborn people. And that's the negative side as well with Scorpio, both men and women. I've seen a lot, not just myself, but I've seen a lot of stubborn Scorpios out there. And it's mostly about their beliefs, views about something. So, yeah, really, really stubborn. It's something that's really going to irk you or make you piss off. Okay? So, what's next? Persevere to the end. Again, I've mentioned earlier that if a Scorpio is, determined about something, whether that's a belief, whether that's a stand, whether that is something that, they just want it, basically. They're going to persevere, work hard for it. They're very determined people. So that's why it's really hard to beat a Scorpio, because once a Scorpio, they put their minds to it, like they're very dedicated towards it, and they're determined to achieve it, they most probably will. They're not going to give up. They don't give up easily, and that's also one of the secrets why it's, a lot of people, they admire Scorpio's tenacity, their strength, their determination. They have this very, very steely determination because they really wanted to win and persevere to the end. Okay. Next one. Strong personality. Okay. Yeah, most Scorpios, they have a very strong personality. That's why a lot of people find Scorpios very intimidating. We have this sort of like a strong or very cold, or we have this like exterior, like a hard shell, but inside we're actually very soft people. We're very emotional, but most people perceives us as someone really, really strong. Although I would have to say that Scorpios, they do have very strong personality. They don't, again, the fact that they don't give up easily, and that also applies to my own experience as well. That makes it a strong person, really. Even though we experience a lot of setbacks, a lot of challenges, a lot of, negative things happening to us, we find a time to recharge. We try to find a time to recharge and then rise up again. So that's the sign of being a strong person. Like, you don't just give up and and just quit. And most likely a Scorpio would try to move back a little, try to do some self-reflection, try to recharge a little, and then we're going to come back really strong. So, yeah, they're very strong people. Strong personality, very strong opinions. A lot of people think that, know-it-all Scorpios, but it's just that we're not really afraid to speak up about what we think. In my case, I really don't speak up a lot at work. I don't. But once I do, it's something that you're not really prepared for it. Like, oh wow, we thought she is a type who's just quiet, doesn't speak up a lot. But once I find the perfect timing to speak up, I will. And it's usually something that a person cannot expect, okay? It's full of surprises. Scorpios are really full of surprises. So, in terms of having a strong personality, yeah, we do have very strong personality, not just for Scorpio men, but women as well. Next one would be Scorpios being intelligent. Okay, it's not just about academics, I guess. My interpretation of a Scorpio man being intelligent, or a Scorpio woman, or both, or in general, it's not about Scorpio being bookish, very smart when it comes to academics, but it's mostly about Scorpios being intelligent in terms of the learnings. Scorpios are known to be wise beyond their years, I've read in one book, I think it's by Linda Goodman again, that, they're one of the wisest signs in the zodiac because of, how they think. They're very deep people. And it's also because they've learned a lot from, not only from their own experience, but from other people as well. That's what makes them intelligent. They know how to deal with situations, with stuffs, when they're faced with one, because of the experiences that they had, or the experiences of other people. So I guess that's going to be my interpretation of Scorpios being intelligent. And again, Scorpios are, they're probably, it's also because of their hunger for knowledge. And we all know that knowledge is power. They like to uncover things. They like to learn. They like to uncover the mysteries or things that are, normally other people would not want to tap into. So I guess that's also what makes them very intelligent. It also says here logical. Yeah, they're very logical. Although Scorpios are very emotional, they're known to be very, very emotional. They can be logical too. They will have this logical approach about something, a scenario or a situation, and they try to, try to balance it with their emotions, okay? Because once emotions kicks off, and if you let your emotions rule, then it's hard to strategize. It's hard to come up with, a good solution to a problem, okay? And speaking of strategies, yeah, a lot of Scorpio people that I know, they're full of strategies. We have a lot of plans before us, okay? When you want something, or when we are faced with a situation, a scenario, or a problem, whatever that is, we have full of plans in front of us. If plan A doesn't work, we have plan B. If plan B doesn't work, we have plan C. There are a lot of strategies, okay? We're, filled with strategies, basically, especially a Scorpio man. A lot of Scorpio men that I know, they have a lot of strategies, and if one of them is not working, he's going to proceed to the next one until he reaches his goal. And that's as true for a lot of Scorpio that I know. Next one, and this one is very interesting. I like this one. It says here, self-reliant, okay? Scorpio are very independent individuals. We are very independent. Some people would actually look at Scorpio as, that's the reason basically why a lot of people looks at Scorpios as someone who's very strong, who has a very strong personality, and someone who is detached at times, but because of being self-reliant, they don't need other people to validate themselves, or they don't need other people just to get what they want. I know that no man is an island. It's very important that, you actually work with other people, you team up with them and all that. But one thing I notice about Scorpios, and being a Scorpio myself, is that we're very fiercely independent and individualistic. That kind of approach where we can actually execute our plans more efficiently if we do it ourselves without, the help of other people. Doesn't mean that we don't really need the help of other people, but sometimes we can actually execute or implement our strategies better by being alone. We can think more, we can actually reflect on things a lot more to come up with a better or more effective solution, okay? But a lot of Scorpios, and even myself, we can work alone. Basically, we can just do everything on our own, and it can be negative and positive for most people. It can be positive, like other people would look at you as someone who is very strong, and you're self-reliant, so you don't need other people to tell you what to do or what not to do, because you already know it. So it can either be positive or negative, okay? Next one, observer. And I guess I've talked about this already in the previous recordings. Again, we don't have to focus on this word, but yeah, Scorpios are very natural observers. They love to observe. Put a Scorpio into a room with strangers, even the Scorpio himself or herself, he just met them the first time, or she just met them the first time. A Scorpio can analyze the people around that room, the people from that room, inside that room, easily, because they're very, very great observers. And next one would be intuition. They say Scorpio is the psychic of the zodiac. They're very intuitive. I guess it's also because of them being the water sign, emotional side of a Scorpio. They can really feel, they can feel, and they're very intuitive on the situation, about the people around them, about what the other person is feeling, or whatever it is. They're very, very intuitive. So sometimes our decisions are also based on intuition. And not just logical thing, but also based on intuition. So I've seen as well a lot of Scorpio guys being very intuitive. It's a combination of being logical and being, intuitive. And it's something that perfectly also describes a Scorpio, not just a man, but also a Scorpio woman, especially a woman. A woman's intuition is amazing, right? Okay, what's the next thing? Calm and steady surface. You don't normally, and this is so true, you don't see Scorpios fidgeting and looking. You can see the worry, in his face a lot. He can be as calm as the water, very steady, but actually it's brimming with a lot of emotions inside, but they don't show it. I guess that's my interpretation of Scorpio man or women having that calm and steady surface. They don't show that they're already actually very worried about something, or they're already flustered about something. They're not going to show it. You can still see that very calm exterior, but inside you just don't know, because the Scorpio's ability is to hide their emotions as much as possible. Okay. Next would be Scorpio being honest. Yeah, so that can be a very good thing or a bad thing, because again, they're very brutally honest. It depends on the receiver and how the receiver is going to take that. So one of the things, in my experience, a lot of people describe me as someone that's being very totally honest. I am a very honest person, Of course, I do white lies. I do, I do lie at times, only if it's really needed. But most of the time, I'm very honest. I'm very honest with my emotions, with my opinion, with what I think, and it's good to be honest. You're not being fake. I guess that's the one thing that you can count on a Scorpio. Ask a Scorpio about an honest opinion about something, a situation or a problem that you have, or opinion. They will give you the most honest answer, whether that's going to be really bad for you or good for you. But definitely you'll get that real, honest answer, because it's all about realness. It's not about being fake. Scorpios are known not for sugarcoating things, Whether it's going to hurt you a lot, at least they're being very honest with you. They're very, very direct to the point, very blunt if they needed to. Okay. Next would be loyal and faithful. Okay. Now, I've seen a lot of married Scorpios. Yeah, they do flirt with other women, okay, since we're talking about Scorpio men. But again, this goes not only for Scorpio men, but women as well. Because they share almost the same type of traits, but in terms of loyalty and being faithful to their partners, yes, they really are. They can flirt with other people, but it's just, simple flirting. It's not that they're going to leave their wives behind, or they're going to leave their husband behind and, just sleep around with just anyone, unless there really is a huge problem, okay? But normally, a Scorpio is faced with a really huge problem in terms of, or marital problems. They try as much as possible to deal with it head on, okay? Unless they're confused about something, like they don't know what to do at first, but once they've decided, they're going to face that problem head on and find a solution to it. So, but in terms of loyalty and being faithful, yes, they are very loyal, and they expect the same from their partners. So you will find a lot of Scorpio men out there is very jealous and possessive. It's because they will show you that they're also very loyal to you. They're not going to give you reasons to get jealous, or they would make you feel secure, like, okay, my loyalty's with you, I'm very faithful towards you, and they expect the very same thing to their partners, because one negative thing about Scorpio people, men and women, when it comes to that, it's the suspicious thing. Scorpio are very suspicious, so that's the negative thing that I don't like about being a Scorpio, being too overly suspicious at times. So you have to have that kind of basis, because they base it as well on intuition, but of course everything can go wrong, so you have to have that sort of like clarity. Like, you have to be clear, and you have to, not just base everything on intuition alone, but you have to be very careful in judging a situation or a scenario before you can come to, and conclude it as something else. I hope you understand what I'm saying, but a lot of Scorpios, they are, very overly suspicious, even if there's nothing to be very paranoid or suspicious about. So that's one thing that I notice about Scorpio men and Scorpio women. All right, what's next? Caring and protective. Oh, yeah, they're very caring and protective. There's this one Scorpio guy. He's very possessive and very jealous, not only to his partner, but we're also talking about very jealous and possessive of friendships. That happened to me because, again, a lot of my friends are Scorpios too. A lot of the people that I, really hang out with or get along with are Scorpio people, aside from Cancerians who are also water signs like myself. But the one thing I notice about Scorpio, whether it's a guy or a woman, they're very possessive of what they own, or their own friends, even their own friends. If they see you hanging out with another person, a new person, it's like, you can sense that they don't like it. Like, you can sense that there's some tension in the air or something. Probably it's because of not really that being too possessive. They're just being very protective. At least what that Scorpio guy told me, he said that I'm not really that possessive. I'm just being very protective of you, and very caring. They don't want you to get mixed with, with people who's not going to do well for you. So I don't know, but yeah, they're very caring and protective. But once they, they don't like you any longer, or something happened that you're not friends with them any longer, it's going to be the total opposite. But there are still Scorpios, like, even if, they no longer are friends with someone, then they can still show that they care, but up to a certain limit only, Okay, so we have a few more words here, and which perfectly describes both, not just a Scorpio man, but both sexes. So let's see here. Dangerous enemy. Yeah. Scorpios are known for being very vengeful, and they're known for holding grudges. Being a Scorpio myself, when someone did something really bad and mean towards me without me really doing anything at all, like, I just got picked on, or probably that person is just jealous towards me, or did something to me, really surprises me, like, I don't know what's the deal with that person. I try to get back to that person, and it's really hard to mess with a Scorpio, because they're definitely going to get back at you. That is because they wanted you to taste your own dose of medicine. It's like an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. So be very careful not to mess with a Scorpio, especially if they're not really doing anything towards you. So they can really get back at you. And what makes them really dangerous is that they will strike you the least you expect it. Like, you don't know when they're going to attack. They're not very predictable when it comes to that, but definitely they're going to get back at you, so that you will learn from the actions that you did towards them. So yeah, that's my interpretation of that one. But I've seen a lot of Scorpios being very vengeful. Of course, I'm not saying that vengeance is really a good thing. Sometimes you just have to let it slide. Sometimes you just leave it to karma. But there are times, and most Scorpios, they are the karma. That's why karma is probably a Scorpio, because they're really going to make you feel, or really basically teach you some lessons for messing around with them, okay? Like, they're going to show you that, hey, my stinger is up. I can sting you anytime for messing around with me. Like, you better not try to step on my corns, okay? So, yeah, they make very dangerous enemy. So be very careful, okay? And not just Scorpios, to just anyone out there, because what goes around comes around, okay? Next one, and these are just, again, a few more words here, and I'm going to go over it real quick before we proceed to all about Scorpio part 5. Okay, we have here mysterious, deep. Yeah, Scorpios are very, very mysterious. They're one of the most, what makes basically, a Scorpio mysterious is that they're very secretive. Like, they don't show their emotions easily. Like, you don't know what a Scorpio is thinking, what she is planning, or whatever. They're very secretive. They're very quiet and deep people. So I guess that's what makes us very mysterious, because we do not really like express or let the whole world know about what we're doing, what we're thinking, and all that. Next would be, and I guess this is the last word here, promise keeper. We value the promises that we tell other people, whether that's a friend, a significant other, or, just other people out there. When we say something, we try as much as possible to keep the promises, okay? We just don't say it for the sake of saying it. We are man of our words, our own words, because it's very, very important. It's how people are going to perceive you, right? So when a Scorpio tries to promise you of something, most likely they're going to take their word for it. They're going to really do it. Now, if they can't, they will tell you right away. That's the one thing I like about Scorpios. If they can't make it, like, for instance, they promise that they're going to be there at this time, around this time, and when they can't make it, they will definitely tell you that, hey, I can't make it. Probably, we're just gonna, do it the next time or what. But usually Scorpios are known for keeping their promises to a person or a group or an individual. All right, so that's about it. Thank you so much for listening. That's a long one, actually. And it's all about Scorpio man. But then again, this also applies to Scorpio women too. So I guess this is, these are words that perfectly describes both Scorpio men and women. Watch out for the next All About Scorpio, part 5. It's coming up soon. And thank you once again for listening. Goodbye.